to the States now, when you think Donald Trump has just made too many announcements that maybe don't make that much sense of late. He's doing a great job on many other scores, but yesterday we were talking about his new 100% tariffs on movies that aren't made in the United States of America. He wants all those production costs to stay in the country, which has everyone scratching their heads going, movies aren't products. They don't travel through ports. How can you tariff these? Well, barely 24 hours later, he's now decided to announce that he's going to reopen Alcatraz. Yes, that infamous prison located on an island near San Francisco. It has been closed since 1963. It was closed back then because it cost 3 times more to run than any other prison in the States. And they were just like, hey, this isn't economically sound. Let's just shut the thing down. It's been a tourism bonanza ever since. We know that the numbers, they see 1.6 million visitors every year and raise over 60 million annually in revenue. Trump says that's all over. It's gonna be a prison again. And here he is explaining to reporters the gravity and why he's done this.
It's long been a symbol, Alcatraz, of whatever it is. I mean, you know, it's a sad symbol, but it's a symbol of law and order.
Clear as mud. Nobody knows at this point whether he is completely trolling or whether maybe he's lost his marbles, because one would imagine that not too many taxpayers in America are that excited about returning Alcatraz to its former glory as one of the most feared prisons in the world. I don't think it's high up on their priority list when you look at the litany of problems that America is facing. But of course, what this did immediately was trigger all the lefties. Here's California Senator Scott Wiener.
It's crazy. It's bizarre. It seems unhinged. The idea that it would be turned back into a prison would be so expensive and just so dumb that it's hard to imagine.
And of course, Nancy Pelosi, parliamentary dinosaur, weighed in using X. She wrote, Alcatraz closed as a federal penitentiary more than 60 years ago. So she would have been about 60 at that time. It is now a very popular national park and major tourist attraction. The president's proposal is not a serious one. You might want to check your notes, Nancy Pelosi, because he took to his own social media to double down on what he'd told the reporters. He wrote, rebuilt and open Alcatraz. For too long, America has been plagued by vicious, violent and repeat criminal offenders, the dregs of society, who will never contribute anything other than misery and suffering. Today, I'm directing the Bureau of Prisons, together with the Department of Justice, the FBI and Homeland Security, to reopen a substantially enlarged and rebuilt Alcatraz to house America's most ruthless and violent offenders. The reopening of Alcatraz will serve as a symbol of law and order and justice, and we will make America great again. So you've got one of the Democrats, one of the main Democrats in the House being like, this isn't a serious proposal. He's not being legitimate about this. And Trump screaming in the background saying, yes, I absolutely am. What do you make of this?
The symbolism is pretty obvious, right? Trump says that a serious nation used to deal harshly with violent criminals. He committed to the electorate that he would deport violent illegal aliens. But now, of course, the courts are saying you can't do that. So there's going to be massive court cases. That's going to take forever. And so Trump is simply making the point. We used to deal with extreme measures against violent criminals, and now we've gone soft. That's the symbolism. I don't think he's serious, but what he's done, and he's got precedent for this because he did it over Gaza as well, is he's changed the conversation, right? Because most of the objection from Democrats about reopening Alcatraz is it's just not economically viable. It's 2 kilometres off the coast of San Francisco, so it would cost 3 times as much as any other prison because you've got to get everything there by boat. It's just not economically feasible. But in that conversation now, you've got the given that, yes, we do have to do something about violent criminals. He did the same with Gaza. Remember, he proposed taking over Gaza and turning it into a beach paradise. And then the conversation became about, well, where will Palestinians go? Which Arab countries will actually take them? So I think he's not serious about it, but he's got a conversation going about the fact that they do need to do something with dangerous criminals. OK, if not Alcatraz, what's the suggestion? We've got to do something about it.
Well, I think the suggestion from the Dems in the US has been pretty clear over the last couple of weeks that they should be just allowed to roam free in the United States. I mean, you know, they've been talking about this bloke from MS-13 that they sent back to El Salvador. His name slips me at the moment. But, you know, he's a violent gangster and the Dems have all been running around saying, oh, he didn't get due process when he was deported and he must be released from prison in El Salvador and brought back to the United States. I mean, they played their cards pretty clearly. I don't think they have much desire to do anything with violent criminals. But the idea that you would reopen Alcatraz is just ridiculous.
It is. You know,
I think Trump needs to lay off the brain farts this week. Yesterday we had that he was going to put a 100% tariff on films and television shows made overseas. We've still got absolutely no detail on how that would work, how you would do it. Now he's saying he's going to have a meeting with the film industry and then he'll come back to us with how this might work. But the film industry is going to say, mate, even the US film industry will say, please don't do this. Because, of course, the US film industry may well make films overseas, but all of the money that they make on those films then flows back into companies in the US that they're spending on staff who work in the US. So it will actually hurt people in the US if he does that. And how do you even, you know, put a tariff on a film anyway? And now he wants to reopen a prison that hasn't been open since 1963 and is a tourist attraction. I mean, for heaven's sake, look, if he wants to talk about films and he wants to talk about Alcatraz, if he's going to reopen the thing, he should get Clint Eastwood to go back there.